What if the person you're trying so hard to forget was never the lesson you were? What if the reason you missed them isn't because they were right for you, but because you lost pieces of yourself trying to keep them? What if your heart isn't breaking because they're gone, but because it finally has space to show you the truth you kept ignoring? What if every sleepless night, every silent moment, every "why can't I move on" isn't a sign of weakness, but a sign that you're finally waking up to who you were meant to be? What if the closure you think you need from them is actually the courage you've been avoiding within yourself? What if the love you were desperate to receive from them is the love you always meant to give to you? What if this isn't the end of your story, but the moment your real story begins, the moment you stop chasing someone who couldn't stay and start becoming someone who will never leave themselves again? Stay with me, because once you understand this truth, you won't just get over them. You'll outgrow the version of you that ever settled for less than what you deserve. What if the reason you can't get over your ex has nothing to do with love and everything to do with emotional attachment that was never aligned with who you're becoming? Think about it. We often mistake the intensity of our feelings for the accuracy of our connection. Your heart remembers the warmth, the laughter, the comfort, but it quietly hides the truth you don't want to face. They weren't good for your growth. And that's the shocking part. You're not holding on to the person. You're holding on to the version of yourself that existed when you were with them. Your attachment isn't lying to you. It's replaying familiarity. Humans don't crave people as much as they crave patterns. That's why we miss even the moments that didn't serve us. Somewhere inside, your mind whispers, "But I felt something with them," while your reality keeps showing you, "Yes, but that something kept breaking you." Emotional attachment can trick you into believing the past was better than it really was. It's like your heart wears rose-colored glasses while your future stands there waiting for you to take them off. Here's the real shock. You can deeply miss someone who was completely wrong for you because emotional attachment doesn't check compatibility, values, or respect. It doesn't look at the nights you cried, the promises that never held weight, or the parts of yourself you had to dim just to keep the peace. It only remembers the moments that felt like home, even if that home was built on unstable ground. Imagine this. Your mind replays comfort, but never the consequences. It reminds you of their voice, but forgets how their silence felt like abandonment. It brings back the butterflies, but erases the anxiety that followed. And you start thinking you've lost something precious, when what you've really lost is the illusion of what you hoped they could be. You're not weak for feeling this way. You're human. Attachment takes time to build, but even longer to break. The truth is, your heart isn't grieving the person. It's grieving the identity you created around them. That version of you was real, yet incomplete, and now you're being pulled forward. Even while a piece of you tries to drag the past along, the moment you realize emotional attachment isn't emotional alignment, everything shifts, because you finally understand the pain of letting them go is temporary, but the pain of keeping someone who blocks your growth lasts forever. What if the reason you still think about your ex is because your mind is replaying comfort but deleting consequences? What if the version of them you miss isn't who they truly were, but who your memory edited them to be? That's the shocking part. Your brain is not built to help you move on, it's built to help you survive. And survival loves familiarity, even when familiarity once broke you. Your nostalgia is not innocent. It's selective. It hides the nights you went to sleep overthinking, but keeps the moments they held your hand. It deletes the disrespect but saves the "I miss you" texts. It erases the arguments that drained your soul but keeps the 2-second spark that made you stay. Your mind is not trying to protect you from the past, it's trying to pull you back to what it thinks was safe. Even if it wasn't, people don't talk about this, but your brain is actually addicted to emotional patterns, even unhealthy ones. That's why you can crave someone who caused you pain. That's why you can feel lonely without someone who made you feel alone. Your mind remembers comfort like it was oxygen and forgets consequences like they never happened. The truth is haunting. You're not missing them. You're missing the feeling of being wanted, even if it came from the wrong person. You're not longing for their presence. You're longing for the moments of relief in a relationship that constantly wounded you. Your memory is lying to you, not because you're weak, but because the brain romanticizes what it already knows. Think about it. If the relationship was genuinely good, you wouldn't be fighting yourself to let it go. You'd be fighting life to get it back. But something inside you knows. Something inside you remembers the hidden truths, the way they changed, the way they pulled away, the way you shrank yourself just to keep them close, but your mind only replays the highlight reel, never the full movie. Emotional pain doesn't just break you, it blinds you. It convinces you that the sadness you feel now is proof of love, when in reality it's proof of attachment mixed with loneliness. You're grieving the comfort your mind keeps exaggerating, not the consequences your heart keeps surviving. And until you recognize this truth that your nostalgia is distorted, you'll keep chasing a memory that was never as beautiful as your mind makes it seem. What if the reason you can't let go of your ex is because you've been taught to believe that walking away makes you weak, when in reality, staying was what was breaking you? What if the real strength was never in holding on, but in having the courage to say, I deserve better than this version of love? That's the shock most people never see. Letting go isn't a sign of failure. It's a sign that you've finally stopped betraying yourself. Think about it. You spent so much time trying to make the relationship work, trying to fix things that were never your responsibility, trying to love someone into becoming the person you needed. You carried the emotional weight for both of you. You swallowed your hurt. You ignored your intuition. You kept choosing them even on days they didn't choose you. But somehow, when it's time to walk away, you call yourself the weak one. What if that's the biggest lie you've ever believed? Letting go is not giving up. It is waking up. It is realizing that your heart has value. It is finally understanding that your peace is more important than their potential. You don't leave someone because you stop loving them. You leave because you finally started loving yourself. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. It's easier to stay in a familiar pain than to face an unfamiliar future. It's easier to keep trying than to accept that trying won't change anything. It's easier to stay emotionally wounded than to step into the healing that scares you. But what if your strength has been there all along, hiding beneath the pain? What if every tear you shed was actually your soul saying, you can do better than this? What if the moment you let go is the moment your life begins again? You're not weak for leaving. You were weak when you kept accepting less than you deserved. You were weak when you silenced your needs. You were weak when you shrank your standards to fit someone who wouldn't grow. But the second you choose yourself, the second you let go, you become unstoppable. Letting go is proof that your future matters more than repeating your past. It is the moment you stop hoping they'll change and start deciding you will. It is the moment you take your heart back from someone who didn't know how to hold it. That kind of strength terrifies people because not everyone has the courage to walk away from what hurts them, even when staying is slowly killing them. What if the reason you still feel stuck on your ex is because you keep negotiating with the pain that was never meant to stay? What if the truth is that every time you replay conversations, reread old messages, stalk their profile, or wonder, what if they come back? You're not healing. You're reopening the same wound over and over again. And here's the shocking part. Your heart isn't breaking anymore. You're breaking it yourself by refusing to let the pain complete its process. Pain only heals when you stop arguing with it, but you unknowingly keep bargaining. You tell yourself, maybe it wasn't that bad. You convince yourself, maybe I misunderstood. You imagine, maybe they'll realize my worth someday. Every maybe becomes a chain, every memory becomes a trap, every what if becomes a prison. And while you're busy negotiating with emotions that already harmed you, life is quietly moving forward without you. The reason healing feels impossible is because you're trying to protect the same person your pain is trying to warn you about. You are trying to defend someone who destroyed you emotionally. You're trying to justify what broke you. That's why you feel drained, confused, stuck. You're fighting a silent war inside your own mind. Your heart wants peace. Your memories want repetition. What if the reason you can't heal is because you're still giving the past the power to hurt you? What if every time you romanticize the relationship, you're actually betraying your future? What if your pain isn't asking for understanding? It's asking for closure. Healing doesn't start when you stop loving them. It starts when you stop giving your suffering excuses. When you stop saying they didn't mean it and start admitting, but it still broke me. When you stop replaying the story and finally end the chapter. Pain becomes permanent the moment you start negotiating with it. Pain becomes temporary the moment you stop arguing and start accepting. And acceptance is brutal. It doesn't give you fairy tales. It doesn't give you closure letters. It doesn't give you a perfect ending. It gives you something more powerful, the truth that they weren't your person, the truth that the lesson was more important than the relationship, the truth that the pain wasn't here to punish you. It was here to free you. But you can't be free until you stop negotiating with what hurt you. Only then does healing finally begin. What if the reason you still feel tied to your ex is because you forgot who you were before they entered your life? What if the pain you're feeling isn't about losing them, but about losing yourself somewhere along the way? That's the shocking reality most people never realize. You don't move on by forgetting them, you move on by remembering you. When you're in love, you slowly start adjusting, you compromise, you bend, you shift your identity piece by piece without noticing. You start caring about what they think more than what you feel. You shrink your voice to avoid arguments. You stop doing the things that once made you happy. You begin living in a rhythm that matches theirs, not yours. And one day, you wake up and realize you're a stranger to yourself. So when they leave, it feels like your world collapses. But the truth is even more shocking. Your world isn't collapsing, it's clearing space. The emptiness you feel isn't the absence of them, it's the absence of you. And that's why the attachment feels so strong. You're not trying to get them back. You're trying to get you back, but you've forgotten how. What if the heartbreak you're feeling is really a mirror, forcing you to face how much of your identity you handed away? What if your longing isn't for their love, but for the version of yourself you silenced just to keep peace? What if the real pain is the realization that you abandoned yourself long before they abandoned you? You keep wondering why it hurts so deeply. It's because losing yourself is the deepest wound of all. And healing isn't about deleting memories or pretending you never loved them. Healing starts the moment you turn your attention inward. The moment you ask, who was I before them? Who did I stop being? What parts of myself did I sacrifice? The shock hits when you realize this. You don't need them back. You need you back, your confidence, your laughter, your dreams, your boundaries, your voice, your peace. You weren't meant to lose yourself in love. You were meant to be expanded by it, not erased by it. And the moment you begin remembering your worth, your identity, your power, something incredible happens. You stop chasing the past. You stop craving their validation. You stop waiting for closure. Because once you start remembering who you are, you naturally outgrow who you were trying so hard to hold on to. What if the real reason you can't move on from your ex is because you were still waiting for something they were never going to give you? What if you've been holding your healing hostage, hoping one day they'll suddenly wake up, apologize, understand you, regret losing you, and hand you the closure you think you need? That's the shocking truth. Closure isn't something someone gives you at the end of the story. It's something you create when you finally stop waiting for the past to fix itself. People rarely give closure because doing so requires honesty, accountability, maturity, and emotional courage. Qualities the relationship probably lacked from the start. If they couldn't love you right when they had you, what makes you believe they will magically understand your pain after you're gone? If they couldn't communicate during the relationship, how will they communicate after it ends? Your heart keeps waiting for the perfect moment, that one message, that one apology, that one conversation, that will make everything make sense. But the shock is this. Nothing they say will ever heal the parts of you that broke in silence. Some pain doesn't get explained. Some endings don't get tied neatly. Some people simply leave and the story ends without a final chapter. What if closure isn't about them at all? What if closure begins the moment you stop needing answers from someone who refused to give you clarity when you needed it most? What if the closure you're waiting for is actually the closure you're avoiding, accepting that it's over, not because you weren't enough, but because the relationship wasn't aligned with your future? You don't heal by getting the apology. You heal by understanding you don't need it. You don't move on by hearing their reasons. You move on by realizing their reasons don't change the reality. You don't find peace when they explain themselves. You find peace when you stop giving them the power to hurt you again. The real shock is this. Closure isn't an event. It's a decision. It's the moment you choose truth over hope. It's the moment you choose your peace over their confusion. It's the moment you stop rewriting the past and start living your future. Closure doesn't come when they return, it comes when you stop waiting for them to. At the end of the day, your journey isn't about getting over someone, it's about coming home to yourself. Every tear, every memory, every moment of confusion was never meant to break you, it was meant to reveal you, to show you how strong you truly are, how deeply you can love, how much you can grow, and how powerfully you can rise when you finally stop choosing pain and start choosing peace. The past may have shaped you, but it no longer defines you. You're not meant to live in the shadows of someone who couldn't stay. You're meant to step into the light of everything you're becoming. Healing isn't about forgetting them, it's about remembering you. And once you do, you won't just move on, you'll level up. Thank you for listening, for feeling, and for having the courage to face the truth your heart has been avoiding. I'm proud of you for choosing growth over comfort, clarity over confusion, and your future over your past. Good luck on your healing journey. May it lead you to the peace, love, and self-worth you've always deserved. You've got this. And thank you for being here.